I'm going to call the meeting to order at, I don't know, what do you say, 4:33? This is the Town of Darien Sewer Commission. It is both a public hearing and a regular meeting agenda. It is Tuesday, September 6th, 2022, and we are in person in room 206. Usually when we have these fancy public hearings, you like me to read the legal notice, so that's what I will do. Notice to sewer users of public hearing on proposed amendments to sanitary sewer regulations, Starian Town Hall, room 206, September 6th, 2022. The Town of Darien Sewer Commission will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, September 6, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. for the purpose of affording property owners and residents within the Town of Darien an opportunity to be heard concerning proposed amendments to the Darien Code of Ordinance, Appendix C, Administrative Regulations, Sewer User Fees, Article 11, Sanitary Sewer Regulations, Section 1000-6, subsection amendments in relevant part are proposed up to the following rates. Section 6-2.1, effective October 1, 2022. The standard charge shall be at a rate of $6.90 per 100 cubic feet of water. Section 6-3.1, effective October 1, 2022. The minimum service charge shall be $268.15 per annum. All members of the public are invited to participate and will be given an opportunity to be heard regarding the proposed changes by the order of the Darien Sewer Commission. So that was published, looks like, in the Stamford Advocate on August 21st, 2022. Sure, it was posted with the town clerk and the agenda on the town website. So, did I get all that right?
Sure did.
Sounds like what you wrote?
Exactly.
Okay, so are there any members of the public wishing to be heard on item 2 of the public hearing as just announced? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and give us your name and address.
My name is Rolf Oven. I reside at 9 Archer Lane in Darien, and I am a member of the RTM, full disclosure. Thanks to the Commission for conducting this hearing today. It's an honor to address both volunteer and Town of Darien professionals. Much of what I'm going to speak about tonight is not so much for your sake as it is more for the public interest.
I appreciate
to have, a clear understanding from a lay person's perspective about our sewer commission and the sewer system that you're all caring for. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not qualified to talk in terms of cubic feet. I talk more in percentages. My understanding is that this translates to approximately a 2.99% increase. Is that correct?
Yes. We're proposing
Correct.
up
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Up to.
Yes.
Up to.
Correct.
Okay, okay. Now, correct me again if I'm wrong. I understand this to essentially cover operating costs plus an emergency contingency reserve fund. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, based on percentages, I would say it's 98% or more covering projected operating costs with a small balance being reserved for the future.
Okay, so I've followed the commission, and I know there are a number of things that are being analyzed right now that I think will fall beyond the operating budget and the contingency that's in this increase. Two that come to mind immediately are the concerns about the elevation of the Stony Brook pump station as well as the near water. And I think Ed has expressed a particular concern about Stony Brook at this particular time, but I think both will require attention. And correct me if I'm wrong, those will be separate capitalization projects once the scope of the project is clearly established. And we would have to go to the RTM for approval on the capitalization for those improvements. Is that correct?
I mean, in terms of where we're at, so we have 3 critical projects planned having to do with inflow and infiltration of clean water into our sewer system. And those have been prioritized because in times of heavy flood, like the two we experienced last year, they can cause problems with the system. And those are also being prioritized so that we can hopefully reduce the amount of clean water that we're paying Stanford to treat, which theoretically will save us several $100,000 on the fees we pay to Stanford. So those are the near term. But yes, you've heard us on 4 or 5 different agendas speak of the need to flood harden the Stony Brook Pump Station here at the end of Renshaw Road and Nearwater Lane Pump Station at Weed Beach. And those are going to require both design dollar attention and hard cost implementation. I agree with your assumption that it is likely that those would be capital outlays versus operational cost outlays, but we don't know the scope of those projects yet to be able to commit to that in one way or the other.
Okay. Thank you. So, you mentioned the I&I studies, which I think is, a huge step forward, and it has already bared fruit with the identity of the 3,500 feet of pipe that will go into repair. We already have that in an accepted bid, as I understand it. And so please proceed with all speed.
We would have started today, but for the rain.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Literally would have started today.
And then I also understand phase 2 is in the planning stage at this point in time. So again, please, with all speed. I'm personally very interested about reducing I&I because you've already mentioned about the potential savings. Of course, no one will really know until we close up all the gaps, and we can hopefully bear some fruit, on next year's budget or the year after that.
Exactly.
So hopefully somewhere out there we'll see some relief. And I know this is a long-term investment. I don't think most Darien residents realize the amount of time, the amount of planning that goes into these projects. And this is not even still yet completed because I understand there's a phase 3 on that project as well, which
Correct.
we haven't even touched yet. So
Correct.
It's a long, long haul. I'm just very interested in the results, and I'm optimistic that it will help to reduce some of the burden that, because we have had over the years an increase with an increase with an increase. And so I am looking forward to see some relief on that down the road. Having said that, I know that you have scrutinized the budget very closely, and you're doing what needs to be done, which is certainly the way it should be done. And so I have nothing further to add other than please move forward.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay?
I agree with everything you said. All these folks know I hate raising rates. I get these bills too. I want them to be lower, not higher. I think we're talking about a responsible range, given all factors we're considering. But we also look at a lot of opportunities for funding sources. So for instance, the money it took to do the II study, we got 55 cents on the dollar back from the state of Connecticut. The money needed for the repair of the force main and Old Kings Highway is coming out of ARPA, federal money. And then the second phase is funded through approved bonding, or will be funded. The bonding amount has been approved. We haven't gone forward and issued the bonds yet. So we are being as careful as we can in finding sources of money where we can, so it's not all burdened by the sewer users as well.
I know there's been a number of discussions about, shall we say, identifying people with illicit hookups that contribute to the I&I problem. I know that there's a particular interest that Ed has had with regards to a company located on, Old Kings Highway, and how they are being evasive about how they're discharging their sewage. I would, just from one person's perspective, I would not hesitate to get a little bit more shall we say, aggressive about pursuing those, and how you go about doing that.
Yep,
I
it's
can't help
obviously
there.
a sensitive, it's a sensitive process, could be. We will be talking about that a little later tonight and getting an update on it. Did you have something to add, Bob?
Yeah, just to clarify, it's not their sewage that's our issue.
Okay,
The
Yeah,
issue
that's true.
is it's their sump pumps and groundwater that's
Okay,
adding
yes.
to the sewage.
to the sewage, yes, okay.
So in other words, we are sending quote-unquote clean water to Stanford.
Yes,
Yes.
And
Could be.
could be, yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know if
haven't-
we don't
we
get
haven't
access.
established that for a fact.
well, but if it's from sump pumps, it's clean water.
Our
we don't-
investigative work, they could be doing that, we just can't tell just yet, without inspection.
If there is a theoretical property with a sump pump connection, everything you said is correct.
Yes.
Well, but I'm sure that somewhere in Darien, there's a sump
Yes.
pump discharging to the
We just wanted to
sanitary
make sure
sewer.
you weren't talking about a specific property.
I am not speaking about it. I'm speaking
Speaking
in
in
a
general.
large generality.
Uh-huh,
Good.
okay.
My part.
That's okay.
Good clarification.
Well, speaking for myself, last year, I bit the bullet. I took 2 sump pumps that we had in the basement, channeled the water out to the front yard. Cost me about $500. But what did surprise me about doing that was now I was really seeing the amount of water,
It's incredible, isn't it?
and it flooded my front yard. I mean, in the springtime, it was like a marsh. So I would say that because, again, in the interest of those who might be listening in to the broadcast of this on TV 79, you know, it's more water than you might think. Okay,
Yeah,
now, I did have 2 pumps admittedly, but
The great thumbnail that we've used the last couple of meetings is we know exactly how much potable water is used in town, and we're sending twice as much water to Stanford. So literally, we're paying 2x of what we should pay if we had a impeccably clean system, which doesn't exist, but you get the point.
yes, yes, I do.
Mine is fucked up. No I there.
Just as a side note, and really it's unrelated to the sewer system, is, as I think you may be aware, Aquarian has applied for a increase in the rates for water. And they're looking for, I believe it's a 27% increase over 3 years.
Wow.
Okay,
So we're doing pretty good at 2.99%.
yeah, comparatively speaking, you're doing excellent.
My
So-
goalpost was always inflation numbers for the year. Craig and I.
We're lower.
We
We're
were a little
lower.
tension back,
So-
we're half.
Yeah, there's no question costs are going up, but this is specific to water, okay? And of course, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with a different kind of water.
Well, the
okay?
the interesting effect that may have, right, is that when you increase water supply rates, right, that provides either an incentive to reduce your water use or a disincentive to use a lot of water, which may in fact end up with people using less water. And if people use less water, that's what we charge. And we have to increase rates because they're using less water. It's kind of a weird.
It's like a conundrum.
It might be.
Yeah.
All right then.
But I understand both ends of it because I hold a license for both ends of the water system. A water treatment and a wastewater treatment
Wastewater,
license.
yeah.
There's a joke in there somewhere, which I will not make.
I can think of more than one.
Let's just say this, you pay for it coming and going.
Yes. Nice. All right then. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you very much.
I think it's a helpful discussion to have on the record, and I appreciate you doing it.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to be heard on this item? Did we receive
The
any?
light's on your phone.
Your light's on the back there.
Did we receive any emails or other digital communications from any folks?
I did not.
Okay, Darren, you good? No, nothing? All right, can I get unless there's any further discussion, I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, public hearing is now closed. We'll get to the discussion in a moment, but right now we're going to start our regular meeting agenda. And we're starting at around 4:48. And we're going to look over the minutes from August 16th.
Well, I looked when it came out electronically.
Any
I'm not
comments on the
ignoring it.
minutes?
I didn't see any,
We make that
I
a
mean, there
motion?
may be grammatical errors, but I didn't see any
It's a tough one. It's a
substance
tough one.
errors.
Substantive.
Some-
Substantive. Substantive.
You're right.
Okay, I didn't see any issues with what's written down.
That's a motion, I'll second it.
All right. As long as you got that, Darren, I'm good to go.
Oh, wait a minute, the only one I did
Sorry.
was, and just to keep it the same, I have no issues with it. But everywhere they use Mr., Mrs., da-da-da-da, except where I opposed, and it just says Hill opposed.
Well, you know, I'm all in favor of
Page
gender
2 of 4,
neutral
number
language.
6.
We'll speak to Penny about that.
No, I don't personally, but I mean, someone else may have an issue if, as long as they spell my name right.
Hutchison.
Yeah, you're right. That's awesome.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Passing the minutes, unanimous. Minutes are adopted. All right, the main item on the agenda, setting the sewer user fees. So we had a fulsome discussion on August 16th. We advertised and held a public hearing. We gave ourselves the latitude through the notice to raise rates up to 2.99%, which would relate to $6.90 per 100 cubic feet, or $268.15 minimum charge per year. I think I.
I know.
I'm going to go with the public notice.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I summarized it for myself, you know, how I probably wanted an opportunity to chisel this down a little bit, but when really 98.5% of the money that we're looking to source via the user fees is going to go to cover projected operating costs in a year where inflation could top out around 10%, and that really we're only projected to return maybe 1.5, 1.6% of those fees to the user fund. I'm not going to say anything. I'll entertain any other comments or motions.
I mean, basically, they all keep the amount that we're adding to the reserve to a minimum. I mean, none of them are, you know, it's all less than $100,000, but I think we should keep it on the positive to the reserve by a small amount. So I would either go with the 2.09 raise or the 2.69 raise.
Okay. Peter, any comments?
No.
Susan?
I
No, I have
No,
no more
she's good.
comments than.
Reese, do you have any more
I
comments?
think given the inflation that we're seeing this year and a lot of the projects and even the maintenance is gonna be a lot more, I would go up to the 2.99%.
Okay.
But I concur with you guys if you're comfortable at less.
Who wants to try a motion to see if it passes?
Okay, I'll make a motion to raise it to $6.88, which is a 2.69% increase.
With a minimum rate of $267.35, okay?
Yes.
Do I have a second on Bob's motion?
Okay, can I ask, what does that return before we vote?
56,000.
I'll second that because the difference is only $10,000
Okay.
in the reserve.
I'm gonna think positive and
Yep.
not go the extra
I get it.
3.3%.
All right.
All right, we have a first and we have a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we're going to take a vote. All those in favor of raising the rate to $2.69 per 100 cubic feet, raise your hand. Or, I'm sorry, by 2.69%. All right, let's be done with it. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Threw me a bone. You threw me a bone.
Okay.
Threw yourself a bone.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, we went with,
Yeah,
so it's
unanimous. It was
2.69%, $6.88
Yeah.
unanimous.
per 100 cubic feet.
And it was,
And it looked like the minimum rate charge on that would be $267.35.
And your vote, though, was 5-0?
yes.
It's 5-0.
Wow. First shot. I like it.
My pen only has so much ink.
Alrighty.
If I may add, please.
Yes, sir.
It's funny because every year I put this together, this little spreadsheet, and every year I learn something new about the commission and what they're looking for. I tried to apply it here and give you a certain breakdown where I think it would be fair. So,
Are you going to reveal the card where you predicted our vote?
but I appreciate the input because it actually helps me. I'll make some notes here because next year I'll take that and apply from, kind of what I just heard.
Yeah. Yeah,
What the
well-
thinking process was. Let's not go to the top if we can kind of make an inroad just below it, so.
Well, I have a lot of faith in phase one of the rehab. I really do. So I believe wholeheartedly that next year, the increase could be 0.
Okay.
From your lips to God's ears.
I hope so.
I believe, yeah, I do, yeah. Look, I think the more we chip away at this II, it's real and it's real dollars. Whether it counteracts the rate increase or counteracts inflation, which could be ugly, we'll find out. We'll make that decision next year. All right, I'm going to move on. Item number 4, we did talk about this last time, which is septic system installation with sewer availability, whether or not we needed at least an administrative policy and at most a regulation discussion on when to require a sewer connection instead of a septic system installation when the opportunity so presents. And you guys, if I recall, we're going to go do some research at other towns, but it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, the commission asked us to go and find out what other towns do. And we didn't do a rigorous search, but we're sure that Stanford makes people connect when they build a sewer. You have to connect. We checked in with Norwalk, and they're like us, the way we are now. They leave it up to the health department. If the septic system's failing and the health department says you must connect, they make them connect.
We would like a little bit more time.
Okay.
The 2 weeks was a little short. Before we turned around, we were done with this. The research that I could not find the ordinance for connection in Stanford. I went through the online stuff, but we'll turn it around. We'll give it a call over there and we'll
All
talk
right,
to
we'll see you
you.
in October. Yeah, do some more research. The more information,
Can I ask a
better.
question about
Yeah,
that?
please.
Would there ever be an instance where the sewer system is full and so then to do a bigger development, they're putting in a septic system? Because the sewer is full? Remember, you made the comment that if the septic is available, the sewer is available, but it's full, you can't connect to it because
Yeah.
ostensibly it's not
So
available.
any large community septic system installed in the town of Darien would de facto be under our, at minimum, oversight as the sewer authority to permit or not permit. So we would be involved in that decision if that situation occurred.
But say the property, just as an example, the property on Sedgwick, say they can't, this new building is going to be massive and it can't use, it needs more than the sewer system will allow. Would they be able to come and say, now we want to take the rest of it and put it into a septic system that we can put here?
Interesting, yeah, so if they could-
Is that where you were
they-
coming from when
they-
you asked this question?
No, this was a house that came
Yeah.
before P and Z
Oh, okay.
proposing a septic system, and there was a sewer out front. And
Yeah.
Darren was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I think they were like, oh, maybe we'll tie into the sewer. I mean, that was.
Yeah, they did.
The end of that one, you know?
Oh, okay.
And
They
might
changed
have
their plan to
realized,
tie
you
in.
know?
I mean, I don't even know what the soils are like over there. They're probably horrible, but I'm
For,
just
for a
saying.
large septic system, you need a lot of room. So that's the
Right.
first situation, right? You're not going to do that on a highly developed kind of downtown parcel. I mean, I was involved in one in North Stamford. It just takes up a lot of room. It was 24 houses. It took up acres and acres and acres.
You had a communal sewer?
Yeah,
And
communal
septic?
septic, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I think the probability of that is low, but you're interested, but let's
Coming from a
let's go with
P&Z
the,
background,
let's go with
I'm
the
like,
thought,
okay,
the
wait a
thought
minute.
bubble, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
say a developer has bought Highland Farm, right, the 16 acres,
Yeah.
right? And they're gonna, I can put 24 houses here as long as I put a big community system in. Yeah, there's sewers available, but I don't need them, you know,
Right.
because I can do it myself on my site. And can you force me to hook up to the sewer? You know, so, you know, maybe there's nothing specific in our regulation that says we can force you unless the director of health thought it was inappropriate. But if they're complying with the health code, he's not gonna say it's inappropriate.
Right.
So, yeah, I suppose
Okay.
that theoretical gap may exist, if you will.
All right.
And I guess the other piece is the plan of conservation through P and
Yeah.
Z, making sure we're consistent with what we had talked about and put on paper, whether sewers should or should not be in certain locations. That's the other piece.
But again, I'll go back to, if it's a large community system, we're the ones that, ultimately, you have to imagine the association that maintains that is gonna fail. And if it fails, we're protecting the public health related to sewer discharges in town. So we would need to be comfortable with the installation of that system.
Okay.
I mean, I just can't imagine that it would be cheaper to put in a septic system than to hook up to.
Oh, it's not.
It isn't, but I'm talking about a development that's large enough that that some of it can go to the
No, I
a
understand.
split system. But they're making it so, because I'm from the P and Z background, they're making it so big that the sewer will be overwhelmed. So they are going to take some to the sewer and some to a septic system somewhere on the property.
Yeah, well-
That was my question. Could that ever,
No, I
is that
understand
part of
that.
this?
I
You know,
mean, getting back to what I was saying, it just doesn't seem logical that one
Yeah.
could put in a septic system that would be less than.
Well, it's not. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, she's saying if.
No, I understand what
Yeah,
she's
okay,
saying.
yeah.
I understand that. But I mean,
The answer is
thing
yes.
about- Yeah.
Oh, it is.
If the sewer doesn't have capacity right now, the health department will feel free to approve septic if it meets the code.
Yeah, the inverse might be,
Now backwards.
because it would cause a public health problem to tie in, so we're gonna allow the.
And then do we get into holding tanks and all those other things that the engineer asked, just mentioned? Your engineer.
I'm waiting till the discussion's done, because
Okay.
you're not gonna put in a septic system, you're gonna put in a package plant.
And then,
And you may have a leaching field with it. You may use it as I believe they call it a scavenge plant, where they use the water for irrigation.
or gray water,
Okay.
yeah. We've done those too.
And then they send some of so that it's a percentage of the water actually enters our sanitary sewer system.
I get it.
But I don't think they would actually do a large-scale septic system. I would think they would do a package plant.
Well, you can't, in the state of Connecticut, you've got to get it into the ground even after you have a package plant. So they changed the rules. Some plants discharge to water courses, right, throughout, some private plants throughout the state. But I think they changed the rules in Connecticut where you actually have to discharge to ground, and they haven't allowed, in Connecticut, as far as I understand, any irrigation water. There's a little gray area I know about that's different, but allowed irrigation gray water because it's potential contact water. The state of Connecticut is super conservative.
Yeah, I mean, they still
Almost too
burn their
conservative.
solids instead of
Yeah.
ground apply them.
Yeah, so it's funny, like, I want to tell you this is such an edge case, we don't need to spend any time on it, but
That's good.
having
Spend a lot of
seen, you know, zoning regulations change and even sewer regulations change, and like and we think we covered everything, and then like the first thing that comes in is this gray area in between the words we just wrote, like, so you never know.
Yeah. Well, people are always trying to build it bigger.
But environmentally, Craig, if you have enough land, is a septic that much worse than having a sewer that's controlled?
It comes down to land in my mind, right? Like for coastal Connecticut, right, our restriction is how much nitrogen we're shoving into the sound. And the rule of thumb that I've always gone by is if you got at least 2 acres, you're getting a sufficient amount of dilution where you're not negatively impacting that balance.
2 acres of usable.
Yeah. No, just 2 acres of land, because anything that rain falls on is part of the dilution.
You know, ledge?
I always thought subsurface conditions would be a big
Oh,
deal
we're
for
gonna
infiltration.
get edge cases, but.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a 2 acre zone, there's no reason to go out in sewer, you're not helping anyone, unless it's all ledge and
Well, I'm
wetlands, right?
thinking Delhill Island, a lot of ledge.
Well, it's also not a 2 acre zone, they don't,
Yeah.
well, not a lot of 2 acre lots.
Okay,
And
thanks.
it's private, right? Like, you know, like theoretically, it would be great for Long Island Sound for all of Tokenique to be sewered, but, you know, they don't want it. Anyway, enough theoretical
Okay.
conversation.
Thanks, that, I
Where were
was
we?
wondering where you were going with this.
So we're gonna table number 4. Oh, do you want something to add something, Darren?
Yeah, would the commission consider,
Hold on 1 second. He's about to wrap up 5 first.
I don't have
I'm
anything
sorry.
further to add on 5.
4, we're just wrapping up 4, I'm
4.
sorry.
You're gonna table number 4 and
We'll
come back to
hold
us
it.
in October.
Yeah.
We'll
With
come
more
back
information.
With more information.
And now we're gonna go to number 5, which I tabled last time because I was getting
Oh.
Okay.
impatient. And,
So-
Darren has a request for you.
Okay.
Could we just hold 5 and take 6 in deference to
a member of the audience
Gentlemen.
waiting
Still
to be
here?
heard.
Okay.
present?
Okay, so if we're gonna take the agenda
the
out of
hallway.
order, skipping number 5 and going to number 6, I will announce that I am going to recuse myself from any discussion on Thorndale Circle redevelopment and hand the virtual gavel over to our vice chair, Mr. Bob Hill. I'll be out in the hallway.
Tim Onderko, thank you. Tim Onderko is here representing the owner, developer, actually not the owner, the developer, right? Contract purchaser of Thorndale Circle. The way it was explained to me, the contract purchaser is considering purchasing Thorndale Circle and changing it from office space into residential space. I suggested, recommended, and invited Mr. Onderko to the meeting to at least get before the commission and let them know of this potential development. So he has graciously appeared from someplace in New Haven or something, so thanks for taking that order. Come on
Come up
up.
to the lectern, please.
Good evening, Tim Onderko. Darren did a perfect job on the pronunciation. With Langen Engineering, representing Accurate Builders, who's the contract purchaser for Thorndale Circle Office Park. There are 5 existing office buildings there, totaling about 125,000 square feet. The future of that space and that lot for residential is going to be a function of a number of pieces, including sewer usage, sewer capacity, traffic, zoning, all the pieces that come into play. And one of the first stops from the development team was, we'd like to come speak to the commission, speak to staff, and more importantly, explicitly ask for the ability to work with Arcadis, who we know have been doing a considerable amount of study under your purview, to talk to them about kind of what happens in the pipe networks from Thorndale Circle to the pump station. What are the constraints? What are the critical areas that we should be thinking about as a development team? And just wanted to come and start that dialogue with you this evening. And really, we think, based on the studies we've seen, we've read the 3 copies plus the addendum of the Arcadis studies. We've looked at the Corbin study that was completed by Ty and Bond, and we've looked at a couple of studies that Arinda Mead had completed for other projects in town. So we think we have a handle of kind of which way is up, but as we dive into the kind of technical details, wanted to have the ability at the developer's expense to try and work with Arcadis if that would be something that was acceptable to the commission, to really understand the nuances of that section of sewer as well as the pump stations.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. The one, or not, maybe not the one, but I would also ask that you think of maybe slightly outside of the box solutions, as in like possibly holding tanks so that you release, say, after 11 o'clock at night. With you know, the grinders, so that you know, any of the so-called flushable items are possibly, you know, destroyed or broken down. Just, you know, because it would be much better for our system. I mean, the flow after 11 o'clock would keep some kind of a scouring flow moving through there, and, you know, keep the pockets from becoming septic, and possibly keeping solids moving along to make any places that are in between Thorndale and the pump station hopefully cleaner, so that if, you know, there was some kind of a issue, it would possibly be at least minimized by the flow going through there at a more constant rate for a longer period of time. The other thing is, of course, you're going to want to size your pump so that the pumps in Stony Brook don't have to cycle any more than necessary. I mean, as had a conversation today, they're on VFDs, so basically you want to keep the pump running for a long period of time, basically idling, as opposed to the on-off, you know, what a cycle of the pumps, just because of the force created on the on, and, you know, the stressing of the pump and the piping during the on and even during the off. I mean, you do create somewhat of a water hammer when you turn it off. So those are the things off the top of my head that I would ask that you look at.
Great feedback.
Anyone else have anything?
I know in that, up until the pump station, there are areas here where there's surging, and we've had issues during rain events almost consistently.
Yeah.
I don't know how you time your system, if there is a subsystem with a grinder to deal with rain events. I don't know if it could be a smart system. I think with a lot of utilities, we're headed towards, it's not about the volume, it's about when it happens. So like electricity, you know, there's peak demands. The same with sewage. People go home and take a shower. So there's a curve there that by 11 o'clock. But what if it's raining? So I don't know how you make a smart system. You're an engineer. I'm not. I'm just, you know, somebody who's curious about life sometimes. So just think about that. There might be something cool that could be bigger than just our little meeting here and your project that could start to come out of this.
And it reminds me of kind of adaptive signal control. I don't know if you have any experience with traffic lights and traffic flow. And
absolutely.
Traffic signals are moving away from, at 8 a.m. the light's green, at 8:01 it turns red. Now the signals actually read the traffic flow, and if it needs to stay green from 8:01 to 8:02, it's able to do that, and it's able to tell the next signal down. It's
great.
We've got a flow car. So
yeah, we both
I'm not an expert on.
We both served on P&Z and traffic engineers.
Right. I'm not an expert on pump systems, but you know, speaking to Arcadis, that would be the kind of stuff that we'd like the ability to talk about. You know, reading the reports, it really looks like the capacity comes down to I&I, and it looks like there are discrete areas, you know, essentially south and west of Thorndale as you head to Stony Brook, that have issues along that run. Trying to understand those and see what we can do to help. So, just wanted to come and kind of broach the subject. There's a bunch that we'll have to do on a various, you know, number of facets, but wanted to introduce the the idea that, someone is looking at this, and from what I understand, it's not the first time
No,
that
no,
someone's looked at this property before, and
Would-
I
would-
appreciate staff's
Would
help
the
on
Fuss
this.
and O'Neill study from way back when be of any insight? Would you want to throw that in there too? I mean, it's on a shelf somewhere. I know Steger referenced it. No?
Shelf?
We got
It's on my desk.
Malone and
Is it
McBroom.
Malone and Brune? I thought it was Fuss and O'Neill.
Well, Malone and
Malone and
McBroom were the
Malone
ones
and
that
McBroom,
came
I'm
and did the bigger, the
I
study I
know.
think you're
No,
talking
no,
about.
no, it goes back.
Stony Brook study.
I thought, no, goes back one more.
Oh, right, before that, remember Bob
Fuss and
had,
O'Neill.
had one
Back
that
in
was-
the 80s, I
yeah.
think.
Wait.
And it looked at, no?
Hey, what are you talking about? The pump station?
It was pump station south towards
Um,
other things, I think.
Malcolm Purney.
Malcolm Purney.
It's
I'm
now
so sorry.
Arcadis.
Yeah.
Yeah, same people,
Okay.
but
That's
new
amazing.
study.
Same-
Listen, we'll provide them whatever information.
Okay.
If they need to
Cool.
do the proper analysis, and it'll probably take a couple iterations to get them the right stuff. Probably a couple meetings with Arcadis to kind of iron out the pre and post flows. Is it all pump, is some gravity? I mean, some of those buildings are different in elevation, so one most likely will need a pump, but, sooner or later, there's gonna be gravity out of those buildings, so. I
Have we
think that all has to be
camera-
ironed out. in
have-
the-
Have we cameraed this section at all?
I'd have to look and see if they were over there.
Okay.
It's exactly.
I know we had some mystery elements too by Freight Court where that was tied into, is that part of this? Where Jerry granted an easement to somebody on Freight Court to hook up,
And we still couldn't find the connection?
and you couldn't find a manhole, it was a mystery manhole,
Yes.
something over there.
It's still a mystery.
Okay, it's on their
That's-
potential property, right?
That's,
It's not anything that we'd want them to tie into. I don't
No, I know, but
No, Freight
if
Court
if
is
you're
on
gonna
the
do a
other
little
side of the river.
sleuthing, put the Columbo hat on, let's
It's
figure
up
it
Freight
out.
Court
But
is
it's
on the other
going
side.
from Freight Court towards the post road, not
Which-
the other way.
no,
But-
Freight Court comes down to Hecker
Yeah,
Avenue.
but there's a one spur
No,
that
no,
we
there was
tied in.
one house.
One house
back
we
in the
Remember,
allowed.
right? Since I've been
They
here.
just read,
That connected to the one on, that's
they
correct.
came
Yeah.
here to ask, and they were gonna speak with Jerry.
Yep.
Yep,
It was probably,
a year ago,
I
2 years
was
ago.
gonna
It's been
say
since I
a year,
was here.
14 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yep. But the Thorndale Circle project that he's talking about is on the other side of the river.
This was
On the
gonna
east side of
connect
the river.
across
I
the
think-
river.
Yeah, this was
Connects.
gonna connect across to.
There's no
Yeah.
way it
Jerry
could,
Nielsen's
there's no way it
property.
couldn't.
Yeah.
The river's between Freight Court
You think I'm wrong
and,
too?
No, I'm thinking that if you think the river and the property boundary are the same, I don't believe that's correct.
I didn't say, no, but
So-
I'm saying that the connection that this lady wanted was on the Stanford side of the river. And
Yes.
she wanted to connect to the Norwalk side of the river, where or the library side of the river.
I don't recall that ever happening.
No,
That did
that's
not
exactly what
happen.
I'm saying is not true. There's
It
a
didn't
pipe that goes.
happen, or that-
No,
but she
no,
wanted
she
to.
connected, but the pipe that you're talking about goes down on the west side of the river. It flows with the river on the west side of the river.
On the
Yeah, you
west
have-
side of the river, but it's,
Yeah.
It's
You
on,
look at it, you got Freight
It's
Court,
on Mr.
you got the
Nielsen's property.
sewer, and then you got the river, and on the other side of the river, you have Thorndale Circle, which goes out to the post road. They all end up at the same place, at the Stony Brook Pump
sorry,
Station.
we're not trying to
Well,
confuse you,
it's okay,
we're trying to
no.
clarify for ourselves.
that
I think
easement
I
will be
have-
on their property.
Yeah.
That sewer line that connected from Freight Court will be on their property should they acquire it, because Jerry granted an easement.
Yes.
So that's what I'm just pointing
Mr.
out.
Nielsen did
Oh, I'm
grant
sorry, I
it.
thought you were saying that Thorndale Circle connects into that sewer.
No.
No,
I'm
which
saying
it does
that-
not.
That there is another sewer on their property.
Yes.
That has a
Just so you
lateral
know.
connecting, just so you know.
That's
And
correct.
it was a little
Yes.
funky.
Yes.
Yes.
So
I
where?
stand corrected, what they're
where-
saying
Where
is,
would the connection for the project come in, at the post road, at Hecker, at?
I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure Thorndale Circle goes out to the post road and then takes a straight shot down to Stony Brook.
Yeah, that's my recollection.
Okay, so it's 5 office buildings, I'm trying to think.
Do you have any idea?
Are all
that
the office
con-
buildings
contemplate
going?
how much increased density and what-
Yeah, so
Spitball.
we've done various density calcs. Based on, and it's been, if you've tried to get office water usage in the last 3 years, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But we have looked through some of the other guidance, some of the other reports, looks like kind of the accepted standard had been 1/10 of a gallon per 1,000 square feet. So we had, the existing usage, we think, is somewhere in the range of 12 to 15,000 gallons per day, if you did their allocation. Residential would probably triple that or quadruple that. So the 15 could turn in somewhere between 45 and 60. This could be mixed use. It could have, some sort of arrangement, but it's a sizable increase. Probably, could be on the order of the sewer usage for the Corbin, which I think, Corbin block, which is somewhere around 50, maybe they're higher than 50,000 gallons a day. But it's an increase, and we recognize that, and just wanted to figure out where to go from here. So.
All right, so now when you're saying mixed use, you're making me ask the question, so then it would be, and you might not even know the answer yet, there would be cooling towers?
No,
There would not be.
no, this would
It
be.
would all be separate units for each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, there
All
wouldn't
right.
be no central plant. And it may not be mixed use, but the idea that there could be some residential or some retail or, mixed amenity or pool or restaurant or, the idea of what could happen here is not fully cooked, but the idea is the office use for water, sanitary flow would be significantly less than, kind of really any residential use that could come in here. Even just, swapping out the square footage, keeping the buildings, you would have an increase, trying to come up with a new residential plan for the circle itself, so.
So it sounds like your owner sent you here to sort of feel out what the
Well,
potential is backwards.
reached out to staff, and Darren's recommendation was, it's good to come and talk early, and, the worst thing we could do is come in and say, here's the numbers, and we'd like you to accept them, and you say, well, wait a minute, we haven't even talked about this, so this is very preliminary. The reason we're having these discussions is part of they have some limited due diligence period, trying to understand, kind of what the pitfalls could be of moving forward, and, we know that sewer in town is always a topic of discussion, and want to make sure we're checking the boxes and starting it the right way.
We appreciate that.
The only other one thing I have is if you're coming to a meeting and you have paperwork for consideration, that you get it in before the meeting, so that I don't have a pile in front of me, because I will just ignore it.
either.
I know.
It's just not, it's not. I don't
That's
think it's
standard
fair.
rule on planning and zoning. Standard rule.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair, because the same way that an engineer can come in here and use terms, I can sit here and use, water treatment or wastewater treatment terms that the odds are they're not gonna be used to. So you have to have a moment to do due diligence and decipher what's in front of you.
Understood.
We used to just, if they did that, Bob would just say, okay, but we're gonna have to put this over,
Yeah.
because we all need
P
time
and
to
Z
read
was
it.
like standard they'd give you.
And I'm totally good with that. I
Yeah.
think it's a reasonable way to deal with it.
Because we need time to read it.
Yeah. Well, good luck with the project.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's exciting.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
So, conclusion,
Oh.
we're okay to work through
Oh, yeah.
with
Oh,
staff to-
absolutely, and,
Yeah.
Anything
studies
these
they
guys
need?
have, anything the
Yeah.
experts
Do we
can help you
need
with.
any,
Do you need-
motion to-
Do you want to have
Yeah,
a
go
motion?
ahead, just,
I'll make a motion that in any way staff can provide access to engineers or documents or anything that's available to help them refine the scope of what they think is available for capacity on site, given our conditions that we're currently dealing with. Make that motion.
do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
And very interesting discussion on half septic, half
Yeah.
sewer for a
Yeah.
project. I'm sure I could find a developer who would take that on.
Yeah, but like I said, with,
It's a moral question.
Yeah, and,
I know it's an engineering question.
And it maybe truly does come down to the health department, because I think a number of health department applications, one of the first boxes for a septic is sanitary sewer available for this parcel? And once you check yes, you got quite a burden to prove that you're
Good,
not going to.
good.
Yeah.
This is the person who's coming mostly from a P and Z background. Good.
well, maybe not so much if Aquarium's gonna be able to raise their rates 27%. And if you're able to use it for irrigation, it might be a whole new ballgame.
Tough to sell grass seed, huh?
It would be great, it'd be great if the DEP allowed, I can have the gavel, please?
Oh,
All right, moving backwards to number 5, which was the detailed and well-prepared
Oh, that was so good.
table of appeals
Yep.
from,
Yeah, and the glossary, the explanations that go with the shorthand. The next page? Second to last pair of pages.
so, yeah, water based on previous home, yep.
Those are dangerous.
Had a bad leak, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Those are my
Yeah.
least favorite. Other NC, what does NC mean?
NC location not connected to sewer.
Oh, okay, so we had to, yeah.
If you go to
Oh, yeah,
this-
yeah, we're not connected, why are you charging us?
There's a
Yeah,
color
yeah,
code
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
next
I just
page.
missed,
It's a
okay.
no-brainer.
It's down at the bottom of the one you're looking at.
Yeah, I just don't have the colors on this particular one, but, yeah. And then
I mean, I don't think there's a perfect system. I think we weaved our way through it reasonably well.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult with the leaks and how long they occurred, and if we believe that the consumer was doing due diligence to have them repaired, or just was kind of ignoring them, hoping they'd go away. Until the bill came to fruition, and then they had to do something about it.
I think it really just shows how unique each situation was, and I think we've handled it with compassion and allowing people to come in here and find relief.
To your
It's nice.
kind of line of thought in the past, Bob, I'm wondering under the orange one, leak, the leak one,
Yep.
whether or not we need to add a sentence, that says something like, when the
Leak down the
property
pipe.
owner, what I'm saying is, there's been some prompt response to the elevated water bills.
So you're
that they
saying
didn't let-
failure to respond to, or to repair the leak in a reasonable time?
Yeah.
May result in the owner paying
A share.
a share of the,
Yeah.
of the expenses of the clean water going down the system?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I think it's something that would be well placed to put in.
There's some burden of responsibility to, you realize, oh, my water bill just doubled, maybe I'll do something about it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'd have to think of the wording, but something along.
Well, so far Penny's done a good job thinking of the wording. Should we just
Yeah.
have her think
Yeah,
of the
I
wording?
Sure.
The only thing I would say is that on the leaks, some of them, the water did not go down
Right.
the drain, like John Vaqueros, which was a huge one. That was a water line break.
Oh,
That water
absolutely.
was not going down.
Absolutely,
The
but
pipe.
we
Yeah,
take that
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah, yeah.
account.
So
Yeah.
you don't care how long it's not going, if it's not our problem, no matter what, we don't care how long it
We
happened.
can't charge.
Well, I do care, but I'm
Yeah, yeah.
not going
Those
to.
are that would almost be like the combination of the second and the third, because it would be leak not connected to sewer.
Right, the leak was not connected.
Not related.
so-
Instead
Yeah.
of
So that's
location
why when
not
I looked at
connected
it,
to
I
the
was
sewer.
really pleased, because it doesn't look to me like we've lost that much money for water going down the drain.
No, and I
by
think we've
making
been
these
fair to
adjustments.
both the consumer and to the other members of the system society.
So I guess I'd make two corrections. I'd make one correction to the leak section saying, something to the effect of, prompt attention to, we tend to grant them when there is a demonstration of prompt attention to the matter.
Yeah.
And we've also shared the cost of, the homeowner, or the property owner, has shared the cost of the overage when attention to the leak was not prompt. Something to those, doesn't have to be those words, something like that. And then the other one, I think on all the irrigation ones, we tend to offer two things. We say, one, the property owner has the option to sub-meter the irrigation system and have us observe that sub-meter. Actually, we don't do that for commercial properties. Or do we do it for residential properties? We don't do it for commercial properties,
No,
because
we
they're getting a
don't.
12-month bill.
Residential.
Yeah.
We've done it for
Rosemary
We've done it for
Roberto
residential,
came
okay.
in. She had-
Thorndale Circle, for example, one of their chillers, we did something to take, we go over there and we read a meter to take the chiller
Chiller,
water
okay.
away. It doesn't go into the sewer.
So the property owner has the option to sub-meter non-sewer discharges like irrigation and have us read those sub-meters and make sure they're properly deducted from their bills, one. And again, under that one, that we tend to also put on the granting of those appeals that irrigation appeals are one time only. You've now been made aware that, one, you should turn off your irrigation system before November, and two, you have the option to sub-meter if you want to do that. And once we tell you those two things in the formal matter, that's it. We're not going to entertain these again, kind of thing. So those would be the changes I would ask you to take a look at. But otherwise, it's great, and I can't wait to see the next draft and approve it, and so that everybody's got transparency. So the sewer users have transparency, so the staff has transparency, and so that future members of the commission have transparency.
Yeah.
You guys have any thoughts? You good?
No, thought you
Okay.
did a great job.
Great. I do too. All right, we're going to go to the superintendent's report. By the way, before we do that, Ed, I saw an item that we might add as new business, or do you want to just cover it in your superintendent's report? I think maybe we add it as new business, the email, or do you not want to do that yet?
I prefer not to ever have to talk about it again, but that doesn't seem to be the case now, does it? Because when I saw that, I was like, we're on a perfectly good day.
This,
Okay.
to me, well, whatever, they don't know what we're talking about.
I have no
Yeah.
clue.
We
I
can do
can-
new business if you like.
I can
All right,
imagine.
let's do a little new business, but let's do the superintendent's report first.
Superintendent's report, can I go to A? Is that good?
Yeah.
Our Old Kings Highway South Sanitary Sewer, we did start today. We tried. I guess something sprung a leak on the truck, impacted a little bit of their equipment. They've now taken it back, repaired that. They're getting ready. They're starting at 7:30 tomorrow morning on the roadway. So they're going to jump right in. This is a critical part of the process. Because of the camera and cleaning, you have to be very careful not to damage the pipe any more than it currently is, or cause anything to fall into the pipe where.
Now you're making me nervous.
So we will take our time. We will do it, slowly and
But you
and
have to get
carefully.
it clean, because you don't want there to be bumps and.
So if today was our start, I'm sorry, Bob.
Sorry, no,
If today was our start date, still our contract end date is January 15th.
I've watched some great pipelining videos on YouTube recently. It's fantastic.
Watch the manhole one too. Those are even good. Those are really good ones. The manhole,
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I haven't watched one of those yet. I'll watch that.
you have B.
7th Cedric, still alive and well. We continue to have contact with the engineer. Haven't been presented with any results or anything, but just letting the commission know it's still active.
Okay, Old Kings Highway, number 19, Old Kings Highway South Building Access results. We did gain access.
Yay!
8/25/22. They were, I think they were surprised by the letter, but I think after
Perfect.
kind of, talking to them, she got us into the building immediately. We scheduled the last two locations. This one, there are no violations at 19. There
Excellent.
could have been if we, because we didn't look, but now we've looked and we've determined there are none.
Good.
We did
That's
find
good for
one
everybody.
over at 18/20 West Avenue. There is a roof leader connected to our sanitary sewer. So we did find that.
that's the
That's
first
easy.
building there,
Yeah.
which used to be the Darien Review,
Yeah. And the Bank of Darien.
for us ancient.
That's pre-ed.
That's-
Sorry.
Yeah.
It goes to the back parking lot. I guess there used to be Sapphire, used to be a
Yeah.
spa, if you will.
Yep.
That's the building. So we found that one there.
Yep.
Good for you.
So they wrapped up the report. Now they can finalize it.
Excellent.
Did they correct that roof leader?
We have to go after them now to get that done.
Wow.
D. property survey first?
Nothing, nothing new to report there. We're still waiting for our attorney to do the title search. We'll contact him again. Nothing new there. As we reported last month, we're waiting to, or last couple weeks ago, waiting to see if we could maybe get National Water Main Cleaning Company, since they're in town, to do the work. So nothing new there yet either. Corbin Drive sewer, nothing new there. Nothing new to report since previous reports. Woodway and Hoyt. We have been emailing both owners, Woodway and the Hoyt Street owner, asking them to finish up the as-built drawing for the sewer, asking them to prepare an easement plan and document, and actually spoke to the owner of Woodway this afternoon, and we were told that he is willing to finish his part in the next 2 weeks. And so I sent out an email to both parties in hopes that they can work together. When there's a surveyor there, it makes sense that they would take care of both at the same time. Hopefully they can come up with an easement map and an as-built drawing. And then both parties will present us with the document, so we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks there.
The start there was a pool house somebody wanted, right?
Yeah, the one on Hoyt.
The one on Hoyt Street had a pool house, and interestingly, that pool house connected into the sewer lateral that was serving Woodway. So now there's more sewer being shared on the property of the Hoyt Street owner, the one that the Hoyt Street owner owns. So we'll report back next month. Parkland, nothing new to report. We explained last month that it's in litigation, so if the number of units change, we'll immediately ask them for a new report. And the fence on Brookside Drive, we did install it. There's a photo at the end. This is a pressure-treated fence. So you typically let these things dry out for a good long while before you apply stain. They have to really dry out. They typically show up wet. So
I think it's great.
And this is not at the property line where the existing fence
no,
was?
this is just the enclosure.
Okay.
You can see the barbed wire on the top.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so that's that.
Did we, remind me, I'm
I
sorry
was-
for asking questions if I've already asked them. Did we at least pin the corners?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, okay.
I always have this question, and I've seen it before. Why is the barbed wire pointed to keep the people in?
Maybe if it was at the property line, it would be over the other guy's property.
No, and I've seen this before, but isn't that keeping the people in?
I don't
I
know.
don't know, I've never been.
I was like, this is like one of those, have a heart traps. Let you in, we're gonna want you to leave without.
If you walk in backwards,
Wait a
it's
minute,
really a
what was
problem.
that? What was that? Have a what?
Have
Have a heart.
That's where you
You
catch
know,
those
have a heart.
Have a what?
Walk in and you can't walk in. You guys are missing.
Tin Man. There's a Tin Man over here.
The property you're protecting is behind that fence, right? So, well, it's a liability question. Because if somebody climbs that fence and goes on that, that's positive proof they were trying to get in.
Trespass.
If it was the other way, you might have a problem.
Ready to litigate.
Okay.
Way the barbed wire is leaning.
That's an interesting question.
All right.
I've seen it before, I always had to ask, sorry.
All right, so,
New business.
Oh, just,
No.
just to
We
add
need
an
a
aside
motion.
to that, we have some panels left over. We're gonna go over and hit Old Kings Highway South.
Oh, cool.
The ones that are there, they're kind of dilapidated too, so.
Excellent.
Nice.
You know, kudos to Andy for pointing that out. I said, because I need maybe one panel, 1.5, I go get it, finish those off too, and we'll keep knocking these things off one at a time.
It makes people happy. These guys are gonna be happy.
They came running out, they were very excited about doing it. I think it looks fantastic. The guys did a great job.
good.
All right.
I would like
Motion, new
a
business?
motion to go.
Oh, I
into-
just want to, can I have 30 seconds to give kudos?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I believe it was on a Saturday night. My wife came walking in, said there's water running down Sedgwick. So I walk up there, I see the water bubbling out of the road, call the police department, tell them who I am. They say, oh, we need to send a police officer out. I said, okay, I've been in the water business 40 years, but whatever you got to do. But at the same time, I also texted Ed. And in less than 5 minutes, he answered me that there was no pressurized sewer line there. I want to thank him for that. I didn't think there was one there going along Leroy there at the top, but just figured I would check so that when the police officer showed up, I could definitely tell him that I had checked that. But like I said, I want to say kudos to Ed, who was willing to respond to me.
So it's an Aquarian break?
Excuse me?
It was an Aquarian break?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But
Thank you.
You're welcome. 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
no,
We serve the
if
town
it had
area.
been dark out, I wouldn't have texted you. I would have said, okay, there can't be a force
No,
main
no,
here.
this is one of those things, please do text me.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'd
Better
rather
off-
know.
If I knew there was something out there, I'd get a hold of Steven and have him come down or check with him on what the mapping is. Because if it happens to be our sewer, we want to get on it right away. That's
Okay.
all.
No,
So
no,
please
no.
don't hesitate. If
see
you can't get a
something-
hold of me, then
I will echo Bob. I am incredibly grateful as a taxpayer in the town of Darien for you and all of your staff, all the guys you got working on the team. And I haven't had a bad experience with any of them. And
Thank you.
everybody's very responsive and goes above and beyond. So
Very nice to hear. Thank
You're
you.
running a good shop.
I mean, once we have that GIS, I could pull it up and check myself.
You're like a one-man call before you dig.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go into new business.
Well, we theoretically have to have some idea of what new business is about.
Oh, okay.
Don't jump right in.
In this sense,
We don't just jump right into new business.
upcoming reporting deadlines for our consent decree with Save the Sound. Okay, who wants to make the motion now?
I'll make a motion that we
And maybe you want to go to executive
go into
session?
new business concerning the consent decrees.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so really, we just got an email at 4:16 PM today from Save the Sound saying, hey, end of this year, you owe us a bunch of stuff. I'm paraphrasing. Can we get a meeting face-to-face so we can talk to you about all the stuff that you're going to give us and what the process is going to look like? So we will do that.
My apologies.
It's part of the
Why don't we
oversight.
have them come to one of our meetings? We'll be here.
They want 2 hours, or no, I don't know how much they want, but, well, do you guys want to be there? I mean,
I'd do that.
I would.
Yeah.
no? No?
You'll be throwing the careful with the quorum thing.
Well, it's either at a meeting or it's not at a meeting, so if it's,
If it's at a meeting, then it's at a meeting.
yeah, if it's not a meeting, then it's just 2 people max.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I meant. If
problem
you
before.
came to their meeting, quote unquote,
Yeah.
we had, it could only be 2 of you.
I prefer just, I don't,
You want to deal with it?
yeah.
All right.
Well, I would say I don't need to be one of the people there, but if you want to have a friend,
Yeah.
Bob
Call it
or.
+1.
No, there's calmer heads than me
Yeah.
in that type of meeting, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Reese, okay.
I know my limitations.
So Reese and I will come to the meeting when we schedule it.
I'm sorry.
Reese and I will come to the
Reese,
meeting
okay.
when we schedule it.
We'll let them know that the sewer commission chairman and
Vice chairman.
Look at the full.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
He's the secretary.
Secretary, I'm
Why
sorry.
aren't you reading the legal notice then?
Huh? Well, I'll do it if you want.
I gotta wait a year.
let them know. I think it's a good opportunity for you to meet the folks. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to what they are looking for.
To me, this is like, I call this a victory lap, like, here, tunk, here, tunk, here, tunk. What process do you want to talk about, you know?
I literally have not heard from, we sent them this stuff in December, and I thought I would hear back that we did have it, thank you very much, or we
Yeah.
got it, and, it seems to be, not even a check the box type of thing, because I thought that's you know.
Yeah, look, this is very new. We just got the email. I'm sure you're gonna give them a call, talk about it, get a little heads up. If it's something we have, we can just give it to them. But
Yeah.
we're happy to meet too. That's it. Any more new business?
Well, motion.
The director of adjournment.
Adjourned. That's what I'm good for.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Channel 79, we're done. Thank you very much.